When the cards call, we answer them. So I immediately felt that someone needs a reminder of who they are. So we popped in with the Emperor. If you walk into a room and you have to demand respect, walk out of the room. There isn't any place or time where you need to accept disrespect. And so if somebody has made it their mission to step all over you, to take advantage of you, to talk behind your back. I'm getting a lot of whispers of this toxic, melodramatic, uh, narcissistic person who just can't stand it that you've got it together. They can't stand that. Where is that? Two of Wands, Dominion. You're handling your own business because that is what you're supposed to be doing with your life. You're not concerned with what other people are doing or what other people think about what you're doing. You are getting things done in your own life. You have goals, you have dreams, and you recognize that there are steps to accomplish it. And so you have started to be taking those steps, and now they have things to say. Well, maybe they should be spending that time worried about what they got going on in their own life. Here's the thing, okay? The other card that I kept popping up was the Hermit. Sometimes it's important that we don't share all the secrets. We're not talking about gatekeeping. We're not talking about keeping people down. We're talking about you can tell people how you think it's a good way to do things. Don't tell them how far you are in the process. Don't tell them how close you are to your goals. Don't tell them when you get that big win. Let them figure it out. If they're going to be nosy, they're going to figure it out anyway. But this isn't about bragging is how they see it, and that doesn't mean that's what you're trying to do. It just means that's how they choose to see it. We don't want that negative energy reflecting back on us. We don't need to defend ourselves. We don't need to say, hey, I'm cheering for you too, why are you being like this? We take our wins silently, and we can share as much as we want about the process. Just don't tell them how close you are. Okay, you don't need to demand respect. Just go to another room. We have here order and peace and opportunity. This message is for those of you who have been taking things in the proper order and step by step. You've kind of been doing your due diligence towards your goals, and you feel as though you've kind of reached this very quiet place. Now, I'm hearing that that's not comfortable for you. You feel very disoriented by being in a comfortable place, being in a peaceful place, being in a quiet place. That's not normal for you. You're kind of a little bit more used to the chaos. That's another day. We'll address that another day. Peace is good, okay? Because when we're at peace and when things are in order and we've been doing the things that we need to do, in that quietness in your mind, that's when the universe starts to deliver what it is that you've been waiting for. That's when it comes. Not when you're hustling and grinding all the time, but when you get to a point where you're comfortable and you feel really good and you can just go, I'm going to rest. And you do. You actually sit back and take some deep breaths and rest. That's when your order gets delivered, right? It's like when you stop panicking about where that solution is and you just say, you know what? I'm giving it up to God. I'm giving it up to Spirit. Spirit's going to make it work. I'm just going to trust the process. Right now, what I need to do is take a shower and eat some food, watch a show, and go to bed. That's what I need to do. And you wake up in the morning and there's your solution right there. You trusted the process. You put everything in order. You prepared it. You got ready for it so that when it arrived, there was no misunderstanding of where it belonged and that it was for you. But it's not while you're panicking about it, and it's not while you're freaking out about things, and it's not while you're hustling and grinding and you got to do this and I got to do this and I got to do this that these things are delivered. these things are delivered when you get to that place and you say, you get your house in order and you look around and you say, it looks really nice in here. I'm going to go rest now. Tomorrow's another day. And you go and you sit down, and that's when those things are delivered for you. So you've already accomplished more than many people have. And there's no timeline and there's no, competition here. This isn't about meeting milestones at specific ages. This is just that you have looked at your goals and made some decisions about what you want, and you have taken initiative already to do these things. Where some people are waiting for things to just happen magically, you decided, no, I'm gonna think about this a little bit more proactively, and you did. So now let the opportunity arrive. Claim it. It's yours. So two very interesting cards. This message, for some, is going to seem a little bit contradictory, but if it applies to you, it's going to make sense. This and that are true. Two things can happen and be real at the same time. They might seem in contradiction of one another. That does not mean that one of them is not as valid as the other. That said, it is possible for a death cycle to occur, the ending of something to occur at the same time something is beginning. It is possible for you to recognize that a part of you is no longer what you recognize as yourself. And you start, I'm hearing for some of you, this may have to do with a relationship, while at the same time, a new cycle for yourself is beginning. And I'm not necessarily talking about you jumping into a new relationship. What I'm talking about is you recognizing a new phase in your life where that none of that matters anyway, and you're just not willing to keep fighting for it or arguing for it. You're just like, yeah, I see it, and it's fine. And it's almost driving this other person mad because you just aren't interested in battling it out anymore. They have their own version of the situation and you have yours. They see it one way. And this could be for a job too. This could be your boss sees it one way and says, well, you're not committed enough and you're not this enough. And that's true. And also, you know that it's true that you are very committed. However, you're committed towards a different goal that aligns with your own goals. And your perspective is that they've missed the mark and they're not eyeing the prize in the same way that you are. You have very different perspectives on these things. It doesn't mean that what this person thinks and sees and experiences is wrong. And so it's not worth arguing with. It's just that you have a different take on this because you're in a different place. Your cycle is ending as it's beginning. So there are contradictory things happening here, but it makes sense to you because you can see where your goal is getting stronger and more clear and more focused. And what used to be important to you and used to matter to you and used to make sense to you is kind of fading into oblivion at the same time. Some people don't get this. Some people get very frustrated about this. You're not, and that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. And as a matter of fact, I think it's really important that we recognize that this is actually more realistic for those cycles. They don't just come to a halt and then start up again. They usually kind of overlap. So you're right where you need to be.